Horrors. Demons of pure magic which form the core of Tzeentch's armies. Their bodies are constantly twisting into new shapes and colors. They bite, scratch, and hurl warp fire at their enemies, a sorcerous flame that burns flesh and warps reality. Their chaotic nature makes them unpredictable, and they exist in several forms. Pink horrors are the largest and most cheerful, laughing wildly as they unleash their magic. When killed, they split into two blue horrors, which are smaller and angrier versions of their pink counterpart. They are more aggressive and will resort more often to melee combat. If those are slain, they finally break down into two vengeful brimstone horrors, tiny creatures of warp flame that charge their enemies and explode in a final burst of destruction. Some pink horrors can even be empowered to become iridescent horrors, which act as leaders, guiding their kin with greater intelligence and stronger magic. Due to their shifting forms and endless multiplication, horrors are the perfect embodiment of Tzeentch's most chaotic aspects. Flamers. They are living conduits of sorcerous fire. They have no fixed form. Tendrils, claws, and mouths emerge and vanish as they move, leaving behind trails of flickering, unnatural flames. Unlike normal fire, warp flame doesn't just consume, it changes. A single touch can melt armor, transform victims into mindless creatures, or dissolve them into nothingness. Flamers unleash these flames by spewing them from gaping maws that appear on their hands and limbs, with their entire bodies contorting as they attack. Flamers act as shock troops, moving across the battlefield in unpredictable leaps, spreading magical infernos wherever they land. More powerful versions exist, known as Exalted Flamers. These demons burn even hotter, and they are capable of melting through tanks and fortifications with ease. They are sometimes mounted atop burning chariots, amplifying their destructive power even further. Screamers. Swift, manta-like demons that glide through the air, slashing at enemies with their razor-sharp fins. They are pure predatory instinct, moving with unnatural speed as they hunt and strike without warning. Screamers are built for hit-and-run attacks, diving into enemy lines and cutting through armor and flesh in a single pass. Their serrated fins can even slice through reality itself, leaving behind shimmering wounds in the air. Their lamprey-like mouths are capable of biting through vehicles and consuming the very essence of their victims. Unlike other demon beasts, Screamers cannot be used as mounts due to their wild and untamable nature. However, Tzeentch can reshape them into special demonic discs, binding them to a rider through sorcery, something we'll cover in the next entry. Discs of Tzeentch. These are Screamers that have been reshaped by Tzeentch's sorcery, bound into service as flying mounts for favored sorcerers and demons. Unlike their wild counterparts, discs are fully controlled by their rider, gliding through the air with unnatural speed while striking surrounding enemies with enchanted blades, fanged maws, or writhing tendrils. Discs are typically awarded to Heralds of Tzeentch or Chaos Champions, allowing them to soar across the battlefield and strike from above. Some are adorned with watching eyes, plated in warp-forged gold and silver, or enhanced with psychic senses that attune them to their rider's will. In rare cases, Tzeentch creates flying chariots, formed by a disc pulled by two Screamers. These demonic war machines carry the most powerful sorcerers into battle at the head of vast demon legions. Heralds of Tzeentch. The most powerful and cunning among horrors. Heralds are chosen by the Changer of Ways to serve as commanders and sorcerers in his legions. They act as focal points for Tzeentch's magic, amplifying the power of nearby demons and warping the battlefield with their presence. Some ride into battle on discs of Tzeentch, soaring above the chaos while directing their forces with calculated precision. There are many variations of heralds, each with unique abilities. Fate Skimmers lead from the skies on burning chariots, commanding with both sorcery and warp fire. Fluxmasters are powerful spellcasters, acting as conduits for Tzeentch's devastating magic. Changecasters serve as footbound leaders, directing demonic war bands with their knowledge of fate and sorcery. Each herald is a formidable magic threat, a leader, and a direct extension of Tzeentch's will on the battlefield. The Blue Scribes. A pair of bizarre twin heralds, Pterax and Zirat, created by Tzeentch for a singular purpose, to recover every lost fragment of his former power. According to legend, there was a time when Tzeentch ruled supreme over the warp until the other chaos gods united against him, shattering his form into 10,000 pieces. Each shard contained a fragment of his essence scattered across time and space. The Blue Scribes travel the galaxy on top of their Disc of Tzeentch to find and record them all in the hopes of restoring their master's lost supremacy. Despite their grand mission, the Blue Scribes are a peculiar and inefficient duo. Pterax can transcribe spells into chaos runes and glyphs but cannot read his own writings. Zirat can read his brother's scrawls but cannot understand them, leading to uncontrolled bursts of magic whenever he speaks. To make matters worse, the two are constantly bickering, slowing their progress even further. But this design is no accident. Tzeentch cannot risk entrusting this task to a more powerful demon, as any ambitious servant might claim his power for themselves. The Changeling. A master of deception and trickery, the Changeling is an extremely insidious herald of Tzeentch. Unlike other heralds, it does not command armies or fight openly. Instead, it infiltrates and manipulates, taking on any form it desires. The Changeling's disguises are flawless. It mimics the voices, movements, and even the abilities of those it impersonates. It has fooled Xenos, humans, and even greater demons, and it can set entire factions against one another or subtly twist the course of history for its own amusement. Even if discovered, the Changeling is far from defenseless. It wields powerful sorcery, capable of warping reality and turning an enemy's own attacks against them. The true extent of its schemes is unknown, even to other demons of Tzeentch. Whether acting on direct orders or pursuing its own unknowable agenda, the Changeling ensures that nothing, not even the plans of the Architect of Fate, are truly predictable. Dark Princelings. Demon princes of Tzeentch, known as Dark Princelings, are mortals who have achieved the highest favor of the Changer of Ways, ascending into immortal beings of sorcery and deception. Each Dark Princeling is shaped by the path they took to demonhood. Some remain hidden manipulators working from the shadows, while others lead Tzeentch's scintillating legions as warlords, commanding through sorcery rather than brute strength. Compared to the demon princes of other gods, Tzeentch's chosen are the most cunning and attuned to the warp, wielding vast psychic power to reshape fate, deceive their enemies, and enact their masters' ever-changing schemes. A very notorious and enigmatic example is Gargatuloth, the Prince of 1,000 Faces. He exists simultaneously in real space and the warp, manipulating fate across both realms. He is also so attuned to his god's forbidden knowledge that he managed to immerse himself in Tzeentch's flux of revelations and survive the experience. Magnus the Red, the demon primarch of the Thousand Suns. Magnus is one of the most powerful psychers in existence. He fell to Tzeentch after his near death on Prospero, who ascended him to demonhood and rebuilt his broken body. On the battlefield, Magnus is a walking cataclysm. His presence tears reality apart, warping time and space as he advances. His gaze can shatter minds, and the strongest defenses crumble under the weight of his sorcery. With a thought, he hurls blasts of raw psychic energy, capable of erasing tanks, titans, and entire squads in an instant. Despite his immense power, Magnus remains a tragic figure. He did not seek to betray the Emperor, but he was victim of much larger schemes that led him to fall to chaos in a desperate attempt to save himself and his legion. Now he rules from the planet of the sorcerers as a shadow of his former self, leading the Thousand Suns in their eternal pursuit of knowledge and power. Lords of Change. They are the greater demons of Tzeentch, powerful sorcerers and manipulators serving as his generals and prophets. They are tall, bird-like creatures with massive wings, twisting horns, and ever-shifting forms. Compared to other greater demons, they rarely rely on brute force. Instead, they use powerful sorcery and foresight, altering fate to ensure victory before the battle even begins. Their magic can hurl warp fire, tear through reality, and shatter minds, making them some of the most dangerous entities in the galaxy. Lords of Change are highly intelligent, each with its own personality and schemes. Some prefer to act through mortals and deception, while others opt for flashy displays of raw power. One of their few weaknesses is their arrogance, which at times can lead them to believe they can outthink even Tzeentch himself, only to find they are merely another piece in his endless game. Kairos Fateweaver. Once the strongest of all Lords of Change, Kairos was unmatched in power and wisdom. However, Tzeentch demanded more. To uncover the deepest secrets of fate, he casted Kairos into the Well of Eternity, a place even the god himself feared to tread. Kairos survived the ordeal, emerging as a twin-headed demon with unparalleled knowledge of the past and future. But as always, there was a catch. His two heads never speak the same truth, limiting his reliability as oracle. He also paid a steep price for this power, as his body was considerably weakened and he lost the ability to see present events. Though still an immensely powerful sorcerer, he is no longer the warrior he once was. Despite this, Kairos has shaped countless events throughout history. He was an instrumental tool in Tzeentch's schemes during the Horus Heresy, and he has even battled multiple Primarchs in his long existence. Aetaos'rau'keres. Among all Lords of Change, Aetaos is the most destructive. He is not known for manipulation or deception, but for raw, unparalleled sorcery. His power is so overwhelming that he is often described as a walking exterminatus, capable of annihilating entire armies with reality-breaking warp fire. To keep his power in check, Tzeentch has bound Aetaos with numerous arcane restrictions and incantations, limiting his ability to act freely. These bindings have driven him to madness and hatred, leaving him filled with an unrelenting fury that he unleashes on his enemies. Even with these restraints, Aetaos remains one of the most feared demons in existence, and wherever he is summoned, he turns entire battlefields into chaotic ruin. That wraps up our deep dive into the demons of Tzeentch. If you enjoyed the video, drop a comment below with your thoughts. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on the next episode where we'll be covering the demons of Slaanesh. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.